Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you're one of those ghost watchers always watching my content but not subscribing, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, but definitely most importantly, right, outside of hitting the like button, is please make sure you follow me on Telegram right there at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and will be pinned in the comment section as well once the stream ends. And now, with the introduction out of the way, let's get the show started. Let's get today's stream started because mass deportations are here. Crackdowns, raids, and militarized borders have arrived. I want to get into the first bit of news here. And what I want to get into right now is this quick news clip that I'm going to pull up right now, in which asylum seeking overall is done. It's done. Anybody coming here trying to seek asylum, you can forget about it. The system has been abused enough, and now it's time to leave. And if you get caught trying to cross the border thinking that you're going to have some sort of claim at all, forget about it. You are instantly denied.
U.S. border agents have now been directed by the Trump White House to deport migrants crossing into the U.S. without any asylum requests allowed. So CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez, you obtained an internal memo about these changes. What are the details here?
Hi, Reed. According to the internal Customs and Border Protection memo that we obtained here at CBS News, officials along the U.S. Mexico border, along the U.S. Canada border, and in coastal sectors like Florida are now directed to swiftly and summarily deport migrants who are entering the country illegally, importantly, without affording them the opportunity, Reed, to request asylum in a U.S. immigration court. That traditionally has been an obligation under domestic and international refugee law designed to ensure that governments are not sending people to places where they could be persecuted. But that asylum law under, again, domestic and international treaties has now been suspended effectively by this order by President Trump that cites an authority known as 212F that allows President Reed to suspend the entry of foreigners who are determined to pose a detrimental impact to U.S. interests. And so Border Patrol agents across the country can now enforce this directive by the president. Some people may ask, Reed, that the Biden administration had already imposed restrictions on asylum and whether that policy is still in place. And the answer to that question is that, yes, the Biden administration had imposed significant restrictions on asylum, but that policy still allowed some people who expressed concern and fear of being harmed in their home countries to be interviewed by an asylum officer. That will no longer happen. Additionally, that Biden administration asylum crackdown, Reed, included one major exemption, and that was the CBP One app. That is the smartphone application that the Biden administration used to allow people waiting in Mexico to request a time to be processed in a legal and orderly way at official border crossings. The Trump administration, Reed, has shut that down.
It's all shut down. It's all finished and over with. And I'm particularly happy about no asylum seeking at all, outside of the fact that it was grossly abused intentionally, because that's what Harris and Biden wanted, right? We can never forget that. It wasn't just kind of general abuse, right? It was very deliberate by way of the last administration. But what people also have to understand as well, when you think about this migrant crisis that we've been dealing with, all these people coming over, how many countries did they pass by, fly by, run and crawl by in order to get here? Countries that, as it pertains to what they're talking about, international law and treaties and things like that, these humanitarian declarations, by those type of declarations and laws, you're supposed to stop by at the very next safe country. You don't bypass every country in the world to come to the United States. And technically, Mexico is categorized as a safe country. So everybody that you see crossing the border from Mexico, they should have applied for asylum there first, but they didn't do that. And even outside of Mexico, they passed up numerous countries before they got here. They should have tried to seek asylum in Canada first. Many of them came from Canada very quietly across the Canadian border to get here. But they skipped all of those safe countries to come here. That's abuse. So now you got to shut it down completely altogether. And I'm all here for it. Now, I want to jump into this article very quickly, right? Because as these deportations have begun, we see now, and we knew this already, but Claudia, how do you say her last name? Sheinbaum, right? The president of Mexico. She's bending the knee while still trying to pretend like she's not bending the knee, right? And I want to get into this article real quick, man, because I just find her humorous. For those of you who don't know about the Mexican president, she is like a liberal progressive over there. That's her, politics, liberal progressivism, I guess you can say. So she's been giving Trump a hard time since the moment that he won the election, but she's still bending the knee. You know what I mean? She just wants to pretend like she's not. Check this article out right here. Mexico setting up tents for migrants deported by Trump, right? Sheinbaum says she's not going along with Trump's remain in Mexico, but for humanitarian reasons, will assist migrants wanting to return home. That's a nice excuse. That's a nice excuse, for humanitarian reasons. I'm not abiding with what you're saying. I don't agree with you, and I'm not going to do it because you want me to. I'm going to do it because I'm a good person. Miss Shinbum, whatever you have to tell yourself, whatever you have to tell yourself, the reality is that you're still bending the knee. All right. But if that's what you got to say to make yourself feel better, that's fine with me. Mexico on Tuesday continued to prepare for President Donald Trump's promised mass deportations by setting up the first of 9 migrant attention centers on the border. The center should be operational within the next 5 days and will provide food, medical checkups, temporary lodging, and a $98 debit card that deported Mexicans can use to return to their homes safely. The article continues to read, the Mexican government says it has not signed on to the Remain in Mexico policy, but Sheinbaum said on Tuesday her government will assist third country migrants who find themselves stranded on the border. And I quote, we have our own migrant policies, but we also are a humanitarian government. The Mexican government, according to her, is a humanitarian government. Hilarious. That's hilarious, right? That's hilarious. And as you can see here, many of you are familiar with this already. Recently, Trump, via the Pentagon, has sent 1,500 active duty troops to help secure the U.S. Mexico border. Right. So now the border is officially secured the right way. And as opposed to me boring you guys and reading through this article here right now. What I want to do is actually just get into another video surrounding this, where, these folks can explain it a little bit better, right? A little bit better than I can. So let's jump into this video right here concerning the militarized border actually being secured the right way for the first time in a long time. Let's get into this video now.
Trump already getting results as he cracks down on illegal immigration during his first week in office. Homeland Security sources telling News Nation that Border Patrol has seen a more than 40% drop in encounters. In the final days of the Biden presidency, Border Patrol recorded 4,000 encounters with illegal immigrants, compared to just fewer than 2,400 since Inauguration Day. That news coming as the president sends 1,500 more troops to the southern border. along with the Pentagon sending aircraft. They're sending intelligence, you name it. News Nation's Robert Sherman is in Washington with the latest. And Robert, the president's showing he's really kind of walking the walk in this first week back to office.
Yeah, no two ways about it, Marky, with the president making good on his day one promise to declare a state of emergency along the U.S. Mexico border. He's now using that authority that gives him the ability to deploy these troops to reestablish operational control. 1,500 additional troops will be sent to the border to join the roughly 2,200 National Guardsmen who are already there, building temporary and permanent barriers along the border with Mexico. And the door is reportedly open for as many as 10,000 soldiers to go. The Department of Defense says they'll also be providing military aircraft to assist with deportations, with plans to fly more than 5,000 illegal immigrants already detained in San Diego and El Paso out of the country. The White House was asked about this directly. This is what they had to say.
The American people have been waiting for such a time as this, for our Department of Defense to actually take Homeland Security seriously. This is a #1 priority of the American people, and the president is already delivering.
And this is 100% the #1 priority of the American people, right? This was the #1 issue of the 2024 election, this and the economy. And this issue right here was #1 for the most part, pretty much the entire time. People are sick and tired of it. And I don't care what anybody tells you, and we're going to get into some, liberal progressive tears by the end of the show, right? By way of Rashida Tlaib and AOC. But I don't care how much they cry on the House floor, about all type of so-called discrimination going on with the Lake and Riley Act. And oh my God, you can't do this. This is what the people wanted. This is what we all voted for. I know it's what I voted for. And I pretty much know that this is what you all voted for as well. And I want to get into some data behind that, because recently on CNN, they spoke about how things are going and how people are feeling surrounding, mass deportation. Are we still feeling the same way that we did, at the top of the election? Do we feel that way now? And they're going to go through 5 separate polling. Everybody, I think, from like the New York Times to ABC News and so on and so forth, right? And you're going to see across the board, America wants mass deportation. Get them out of here. Let's jump into this clip next.
Immigrants. So we have slightly different questions, but
let me start it off from the very beginning.
Documented immigrants. So we have slightly different questions, but these were all taken within the last month. And there's real uniformity here. That's what I really think you see. You see real uniformity. Deported all immigrants who are here illegally, 55% of the New York Times. Marquette, 64%. CBS News, 57%. ABC News with a slightly different question, 56%. So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters.
So if they say yes today-ish, how has that changed over time?
Yeah, this is where I think you get very interesting. And so we'll take a look at that ABC News question in particular, because you can really see that there's been a massive shift from when Trump was first getting into office 8 years ago, right? Deport all undocumented immigrants. You go back to 2015, I'm going to come to your side of the screen, it was 42%. Hello. Go to 2016, it was 36%. Look at where we are now. This was taken at the end of last year, 56%. This is 20 points higher than it was just before Trump got into office the first time. So feelings towards immigration in this country, feelings towards undocumented immigrants and deporting all of them have become considerably more hawkish. And I think that gives Donald Trump much more leverage to go with the American people and sort of have these hawkish, some might say harsh, different rhetoric and also issue-based sort of going after immigrants who are here illegally. And so I think the American people are going to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt to do what he wants to do, at least if you believe these blunt questions, including this one.
How about immigration levels?
Yeah, okay. So this sort of goes in line with that, right? Which is, again, trying to get at the underlying feelings. Want immigration levels decreased. This includes legal and illegal immigration. Look at this. Last year, 55%. That is the highest level since the 9/11 aftermath. You go back just to 2020.
And this, again, legal and
Legal
illegal.
and
So they
illegal.
people want less people coming into the country.
Exactly. They want less people coming into the country. Look at that. That's a 14-point rise from 2023. You go back to 2016 when Donald Trump again was running for president the first time, it was 38%. That's a 17-point rise. So the bottom line is more folks want people who are here illegally deported, and their overall feelings towards immigration have become considerably more hawkish since Donald Trump was first getting in office, Kate.
And what's really important to understand and to point out and highlight is that this is a sentiment that the Democrats created, because now the immigration system, if you want to call it that, was abused deliberately in such a grotesque, ugly, and disrespectful fashion that now the view overall is now we don't want anybody coming in. We want legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Now it's closed off to everybody. And some people might look at that and say, oh, you guys are being too hard. You're being too harsh. What do you mean? You want less immigration overall, whether regardless if it's legal or not. Well, obviously, you don't want illegal immigration, but even legal immigration, well, that's the sentiment that Biden created. They did that. The Democrats created that. The Democrats created that environment that people will want to say like this is a negative outlook to have. They created that. So you have to deal with that with them. You have to take that on with them. You can't take that on with people like me and folks in the comment section and the 55% of Americans overall. 55% of American citizens overall feeling that way. Democrats are creating negative environments overall. They're the ones that are creating this. Now, what I want to shift over to right now is this particular story right here that I think is very not interesting, the word I'm looking for, that it made me very happy to see. Everybody keeps using the same like picture with Donald Trump holding up that executive order he signed. But Justice Department orders investigation of local compliance with Trump immigration crackdown. Yes, you know, the Brandon Johnsons of the world need to get investigated. And let's see if we can hem these guys up, you know, for interfering and getting in the way with mass deportation, right? This article reads, the Justice Department has ordered federal prosecutors to investigate state or local officials who they believe are interfering with the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration, saying they could face criminal charges in an apparent warning to dozens of so-called sanctuary jurisdictions across America. The memo from Acting Deputy Attorney General Emma Bove, I know I just butchered her name, but anyways, signals a sharp turnabout in priorities from President Joe Biden's Democratic administration, with the Justice Department's Civil Division told to identify state and local laws and policies that threaten to impede the Trump administration's immigration efforts and potentially challenge them in court. I quote, indeed, it's the responsibility of the Justice Department to defend the Constitution and accordingly to lawfully execute the policies that the American people elected Trump to implement. And this is a fact. We just went through the video clip just now. Well over 50% of the US population, and some polls 60%, depending on the poll that you're looking at. But well over half of the population voted and want mass deportation. And if these DNC lunatics are getting in the way, something should be done about that. Something should be done about that if they're actually getting in the way of what the people voted for. Once again, these DNC lunatics, they're the same people that claim to be fighting for democracy while standing in the way of it actively. And as we round this article out, sanctuary has no legal definition, but the term encompasses a range of protection for immigrants, particularly those living in the U.S. illegally. And there should be kind of an addendum to that because it's really protecting illegal immigrant criminals. it protects the criminals overall more than anything, because those who are committing crime and terrorizing people in these sanctuary cities, they know that they can live there peacefully without any fear of getting caught, ran down on, and deported. Well, at least up until now. At least up until now, because that's no longer the case. Though these places like Boston, Chicago, LA, DC, they're safe havens, right, for the worst of the bunch as it pertains to those who actively commit crime and become gang members, so on and so forth, where you talk Tren de Aragua, the cartel, all that kind of stuff. The days of them finding these places as safe havens are pretty much numbered. And it began in Boston. And I want to get into this Fox News clip right now. Let's jump into this right here, and let's get into some of these raids that have been taking place across the country. But once again, this one particularly here, happening in Boston.
Going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal.
Came out the gate hot. He said, "I'm not going back to Haiti." Oh, that video came out the gate hot. Okay, let's start that over again.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Did you hear what he said? So this is a gang member who's committed 17 crimes already, but continues to be released. He's just in Boston, living life while being a criminal, and says, F Trump, Biden forever. Obama, I love you, bro, for everything you did for me. What? Can we take that from the top one more time? This is crazy. And these are the people that are constantly being let out into the street in these sanctuary cities. The Lake and Riley Act, which recently was passed in the House and Senate, and we're going to get into that at the end of the stream. It hasn't been signed by Trump yet, but it obviously will be. Had that law had been passed prior, he would have been out of here after the first arrest. But instead, he was able to stick around for what? I don't know how long. How long has he been here? The entirety of, Biden's presidency, at least. He's been able to stay here for all this time, being a gang member, committing crime, terrorizing the community, just to be let out of the prison every time. That's crazy.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies.
Do you hear this lunacy? What did they say? Unless I'd heard incorrectly, he was just arrested the day before. Known MS-13 gang member. The ICE got a hold of it, put the detainer out, said, hold on to him. We're going to come pick him up. We know that this guy is a violent predator in the community. It's documented in our system here. You have him. Let us come pick him up. Boston PD said, nope, back out into the streets you go. Back out into the streets you go. And I don't say that to trash Boston PD. There's nothing that they can do about it, right? That's the DNC lunatics that run the city that are allowing it, right? That make it so that they're not allowed to comply. But this is crazy. This is complete lunacy.
Local custody just the day before. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
She said, we're going to find them whether they are released or not. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. And Tom Homan tried to tell you, he said, hey, you can either let us get them in a jail or you can release them. But when you release them, when we come across all these other folks that are illegal immigrants, we're not going to let them go. And you see, my man got caught up living with an MS-13 gang member. I guess he was living a clean life, I guess, outside of the fact that you are a criminal because you broke into the country illegally, right? Which is, a violation of federal law. But if we're going to dismiss that, I guess he was living a clean life. But now you got to go too. You got to go too. No one's getting overlooked. Everyone's got to go. Everyone's got to go, right? So now what I want to get into is this Lake and Riley Act. It passed in the House and the Senate. And as we get through this article here, I want to get into some DNC tears afterwards, right? I want to get into some DNC tears. And if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button. That's extremely important that you do that. Please smash that like button. House passes Lake and Riley Act spending bill to Trump's desk. What? House passes Lake and Riley Act sending bill to Trump's desk. Excuse me. Sending the bill to his desk. The House on Wednesday passed the Lake and Riley Act, sending the immigration bill to President Trump's desk for his signature. The measure, which would require the detention of undocumented immigrants arrested for some crimes, is poised to be the first bill Trump signs into law during his second term. And this thing passed overwhelmingly, okay? Not just with Republicans, but with many Democrats voting for this as well. The bill passed the House 263 to 156 with 46 Democrats voting for it, right? And in the Senate, the bill passed a measure earlier this week 64 to 35 with 12 Democrats voting for it. And by and large, what this bill does is this. The legislation aimed at clamping down on people in the U.S. illegally who commit nonviolent crimes like theft is expected to be the first bill President Donald Trump signs into law after returning to the White House this week. So once again, when you look at all the people, go back to the Boston video that we just watched, right? The raids took place, the crackdowns happened, where all of these illegal immigrant criminal aliens, right, that are actively committing crime in these community sanctuary cities, they are known gang members. They're committing multiple crimes. I guess technically they're non-violent, and then they just get released back out into the population. And if I remember correctly, the Lake and Riley Act is not just inspired by Lake and Riley and her untimely murder in general, but if I remember correctly, the legal immigrant that took her life, like these other illegal immigrant criminal migrants that we just saw in Boston, he had been, arrested multiple times for different criminal offenses while he was here and then released. You know what I mean? So that's what this is inspired by, if I remember correctly. The fact that you got these guys committing so-called nonviolent crimes being re-released just for them to take someone's life. It's horrible. If you just get them out of here in the first place, you wouldn't have a lot of these problems. Nonviolent crimes or not. You're already here illegally. Why are you committing crime? Especially if you're seeking asylum, right? Allegedly seeking asylum. Clearly, you're not seeking asylum. You came here to commit crime. And once you commit it, whether it's nonviolent or not, as far as I'm concerned, adios. It's time to go. It's time to go. And only DNC lunatics, right? Only DNC lunatics are opposed to this bill. Now, it doesn't matter because it passed regardless, House and Senate. But, as we round things out, let's just listen to the DNC liberal progressive tears, right? Because this truly makes me happy. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Listening to this here right now, what we're going to get into in closing, like this just, the wailing and gnashing of teeth, as I love to say, is music to my ears. It is music to my ears. Let's hear a little bit of what Rashida Tlaib had to say. Oh, this is music to my ears. Let's hear some of this crying.
It is so shameful that the first bill of the new Congress will put a target on the back of millions of our neighbors that work so hard, that build up our communities.
The people that were getting arrested in Boston, are those neighbors of yours that are they your neighbors that are working so hard building up communities? What communities were these people building up that we just saw got arrested? They're tearing down a lot of communities. They're definitely not building anything up. But anyways, let it. If I stop this as many times as I'll be tempted to stop it, we will never get through this. So let me just let the liberal tears play. Let me let it play. Oh my God, these people are psychotic.
It is also going to increase militarization of our neighborhoods. As somebody that grew up in Southwest Detroit, where you'll find 20 different ethnicities, people from all over the world came together, and you should see how beautifully diverse it is, but how they built up communities and neighborhoods. They're an integral part of our neighborhood. And one of the things that I have been seeing over and over again on social media already, Mr. Chair, is literally militarization of Border Patrol, officials everywhere, just people scared and petrified because that's what's exactly happening, because this promotes racial profiling. The bill blatantly violates
racial profiling. Who? I have we're not going to get through this. I have a tweet or X, whatever it's called, that I didn't get a chance to pull up. I wasn't going to talk about it anymore, but I'll bring it up now. In Florida, there was like a human trafficking, like a human smuggling trafficking bust that took place, right? And in that bust that happened, it was a variety of illegal immigrants. It wasn't just Hispanics, right? It was like 3 Chileans. You know what? Let me just pull it up, because I'm just like trying to figure it off the top of my head, and there's no need for that when I could just pull it up. Give me just a second while I pull this up right now on Twitter. So please, if you haven't already, hit the like button. That's extremely important. And subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. That is extremely important. Please subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important as well. Where is this stupid tweet? Tell me I just like interrupted the whole stream for a tweet that I can't find anymore that I thought I had saved. Hold on just a second. I didn't save it. Anyways, the point was this. I'm so irritated now that I just busted up the flow of this just to not have it. Now I have to find it. Hold on just a second. I'm so sorry. And I have to pull it up now. I got to see if I can find it, because now I'm annoyed that I just stopped everything for something that I can't find anymore. I'm just going through my history very quickly. I think hopefully I might have found it. No, I didn't. Okay, let's just get back to Rashida Tlaib. That is so annoying. I'm so irritated right now. But the point is this: it was a human smuggling operation in Florida that went down, in which it wasn't any one particular kind of person that was caught. Right? It was like 3 Venezuelans, 2 Chileans, and 21 Chinese nationals that were caught. So when she's saying this is going to be some sort of a discrimination against people, right? Discrimination against who? Everybody's going down, of all, races, colors, and creeds. Not any one particular type of person. Everybody's going down, right? Everyone's going down. So she's just talking foolishness.
Process. I mean, these are because this promotes racial profiling. The bill blatantly violates due process. I mean, these are literally being allegations and charges, not actual convictions. Y'all act like if somebody's undocumented, they can't be deported. They can. As a former immigration attorney, I know that for a fact. You're making this up so you can literally allow people to be profiled and discriminated against. Blame them for the cost of eggs? Is that what we're doing here? We're blaming them because you guys can't get corporate greed on a side that is a disease that is killing our economy? People can't
Nobody blamed them for the cost of eggs. She's just saying anything. Oh, the tears are wonderful. The tears are wonderful. The cost of eggs being up is by Biden's inflation. Nobody blamed illegal immigrants for the cost of eggs. But the tears and the wailing and gnashing of teeth is so great, she doesn't even know what to say now. She's just rambling on about nothing.
afford housing? You think it's because of our immigrant neighbors? No. If you cared truly about fixing our immigration system, you'd go fix it so that U.S. citizens married to undocumented spouses can actually adjust their status. Where we have mixed statuses because for 30 years we've ignored and vilified immigrants. Eenough is enough. It will separate families. It would lead again to continued discrimination. It's shameful that my colleagues are giving into racist fear-mongering at the first opportunity to pass legislation to scapegoat our immigrant neighbors.
They throw racists around like they pass the word racist around like it's popcorn at a movie theater. You know? There's more of her crying, but I want to get to AOC so we can shut this stream down because I have a special dislike for AOC. So like watching her whine, cry, and complain, it makes me especially happy. Let's get into this right now.
When they are opening the floodgates. I want the American people to know what is in this bill. Because in the guise and in the wake of tragedy, we are seeing a fundamental erosion of our civil rights. In this bill,
we're not seeing the fundamental erosion of our civil rights. She's making stuff up.
If a person is so much as accused of a crime, if someone wants to point a finger and accuse someone of shoplifting, they will be rounded up and put into a private detention camp and sent out for deportation without a day in court.
She's a liar. That's not true. That's not how the bill works. You literally cannot just point somebody out and say, I think they committed a crime and instant deportation. Do you see how disingenuous these people are? These people are disgusting.
Without a moment to assert their right and without a moment to assert the privilege of innocent until proven guilty. Without being found guilty of a crime, they will be rounded up. That is what is inside this bill, a fundamental suspension of a core American value. And that is why I rise to oppose it. If you're a dreamer, all someone has to do is point a finger and you will be rounded up. And we have seen moments like these happen before. In the Patriot Act, in the wake of the travesty of 9/11, a fundamental suspension of American civil liberties. That is what we are seeing here today. Mr. Speaker, you may wonder why so many of our friends across the aisle who care so deeply about the rule of law happen to be so desperate to pass this bill after they are unleashing people who attacked police officers here on this Capitol into roaming our streets, who are publicly saying now they want to get a gun. Suddenly, these folks care about public safety? I don't think so. Look no further than the price tag of this bill, $83 billion. They know that it can't be paid for. They know that the capacity is not there.
No, we got the money. We got the money. We've just been sending it all overseas. But we definitely got the money.
And you know what will be there? Private prison companies are going to get flooded with money, who give this money, no doubt. I want folks at home to look. Look at what members of Congress are invested in private prison companies who receive this kind of money, and look at the votes on this bill. It is atrocious that people are lining their pockets with private prison profits in the name of a horrific tragedy and the victim of a crime. It is shameful. It is absolutely shameful. And Mr. Speaker, I'll conclude with this. In a few months, there are members of Congress who voted for this bill who are going to pretend they didn't know about all the bad things that are going to happen because of it.
No, I know, and I'm for it.
So when a private prison camp opens in your town, when a dreamer...
Time has expired. I yield the gentlelady an additional 30 seconds.
So when a private prison camp opens in your town, and they say, we didn't know this was going to happen, know that they did, and they voted for it. When a dreamer is disappeared from your classroom, when the President of the United States destroys what is left of the Constitution, as he's announced in this attack on birthright citizenship, they will all say, we didn't know this was coming. And I want the American people to know that they did. This vote represents it. And with that, I yield back. Thank you very much.
And the lady yields. We reserve.
No, Cindy V, you cannot fast forward to skip her. Oh my God. And I have to agree with my man Saul. He said the safety of Americans is priceless. It's priceless. It truly is. I would have to 100% agree with you, Saul. It's priceless. We have the money. We have the money. It just has to stop going overseas and has to stop funding a man-made migrant crisis, right? Just take that money and put it back into ICE. Take that money and put it into these deportation programs. Take that money and put it into the Laken Riley Act, right? So we can arrest folks and deport folks that are pretending to seek asylum but came here to commit crime and terrorize neighborhoods. Really think about this in closing, right? Because this really speaks to how soft we are here in America. I was thinking about this before the stream started. If you've ever been out the country, right? And I mean, like, not like Canada, because I've been to like Canada. I have family like in Toronto, but I mean like out the like in Jamaica or something like that. You know, a place that would be considered like third world or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe second world. I don't even know what a second world country is. I just know first world and third world, right? But you know, you go overseas to, I don't know, Japan, Jamaica, whatever, the Bahamas, you know, Singapore, India. When you leave the country and you're overseas, forget about thinking twice. You're saying you'd never think twice. You'd never think once about committing a crime while you're there, because you are utterly terrified of the idea of being in their prisons and having to go through their system of justice, whatever that is. Lord knows you don't want to experience that. You don't want to know anything about it. You walk on eggshells when you're in another country. Because like I said, heaven knows you don't want to get arrested and go to one of their jails. You don't want to figure it out. You don't want to investigate it. No, sir. I'm giving you guys no problems while I'm overseas, because I don't want to know how you guys get down over here. Now think about this. These folks, like we saw in Boston, they come here with the intent to commit crime. They come here not scared at all. They're not scared at all. As soon as they step foot in American soil, they get straight to it. They get straight to committing crime, because they know that's how soft we are here, because you have DNC lunatics like this woman right here who will defend you and will turn the Laken Riley Act into, oh, you want to snatch children out of schools. What? Who said anything about snatching children out of schools when dreamers start disappearing from classes? What? Do you not see what's going on with MS-13 and Tren de Aragua? Do you not see what's just happened in Boston and the raid that took place over there? These people, for whatever lunatic reasons, want to keep these criminals in your cities and neighborhood. And you have to ask yourself why. Why do you want to hold on to these criminals? Why do you want to hold on to these gang members? Why do you want to hold on to these 100-time offenders? Doesn't make sense, right? But getting back to the point, the reason that illegal immigrants feel so comfortable committing crime here is because they know that they can, because they have people like her that'll help them get away with it, at least up until now. Because now we got Trump in office and red going up and down the House and the Senate with a handful of Democrats that are now operating with common sense. So things are going well. So far, so good. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. All right. That does it for today's show. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please smash the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And before you leave, follow me on Telegram, for crying out loud. Please. I can't stress to you guys how important that is. Telegram at TD Media Group. All right. The link is in the description box and it will be pinned in the comment section below once the stream ends. That is extremely important. Right. So I don't have to hear anybody saying, I don't get my notifications. Follow me on Telegram. Okay. So now, as we close this thing out, let's go through the super chats because I cannot leave here without giving out my thank yous. I don't exist without everyone's support. So thank you so much, right? My man, Papa Onaya Shelley, I appreciate you, man, for 16 months of service. He said, gotta go. See you later. Yep, gotta go. My man, Saul, who keeps the lights on in my home, he said, it is amazing how DNC lied to people of color about getting harassed for simply existing, right? All they do is lie. You saw AOC lying her tail off just now, saying that all you have to do is point at a illegal immigrant, right? Basically, what she really means is pointing at a Hispanic. Like, all you have to do is point at somebody who's Hispanic and say, I believe they commit a crime. And they're instantly detained and deported. The woman, all she does is lie. All she does is lie. Shout out to my man Benton Jr. Bay, who said Claudia Sheinbaum better be careful, because if those cartels make a mistake, U.S. Marines are going to be all up in her border. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. My man Saul ran it back one more time. He says 17 charges. You come here to be a criminal. You ain't my people. 100% correct. How do you have 17 charges on you? 17 charges, known gang member, and roaming the streets of Boston because sanctuary city policies won't allow the police department over there to hand them over to ICE. So instead, this guy is just roaming around Boston. And then when he gets caught, he's screaming out F Trump, Biden forever. That says all that needs to be said. That says all that needs to be said. My man Cutthroat Rock came through. He said, born in the USA. Shout out to my man Cutthroat Rock, man. Appreciate you for coming through. Benton Jr. Bay came through with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Benton Jr. Bay. My man Saul ran it back again. He said, the safety of Americans is priceless. It truly is. I read that earlier. My man Saul came through one more time. He said, if I wake up in a Mexican jail, I'm waving my American flag so fast. Right? You wake up in American jail, you better, hey, I'm an American citizen. You better, hey, treat me right, okay? And just let me go. I'm an American citizen. You don't want no problems. I'm telling you, waving my American flag real quick, but I'm not trying to wake up in a foreign jail. Right? But prison for them over here, I don't know. I guess like a 5-star hotel. That's why they don't care about going to jail over here. My man Benton Jr. Bay ran it back one more time. He said, yep, other countries don't play. I almost got arrested in Tanzania for stepping on government property. Yeah, you don't want to mess around and get arrested overseas, man. You definitely don't want to do that. Ooh, we, we'll just say you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that, man. So I thank you all for joining me today. And I think I can say technically the goal was hit, right? I had a goal, right? $5, $10 super chats. And technically we can say it was hit. What's it? My man Saul with the 10, Benton Jr. Bay with 20, Benton Jr. Bay with another 10, and then Benton Jr. Bay again with 10. What is it? 10, 10, that's 2, 10. If I'm going to say 20, that's 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, that's great. That's great. So the goal was hit as well, technically, and I appreciate you all for that. So thank you all for joining me, man. I'm gonna head on out of here. I gotta run. This was a great show, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Right? Peace and have a great afternoon.